In this video, you're going to know exactly why one kind of income can set you free and another kind never will, no matter how many extra hours you throw at it. And you're going to walk away with the specific ceiling number on your own paycheck, the 3 exact things that are quietly stopping you from building something bigger than it, and the honest timeline for getting there based on your actual life, not a stranger's. Here's the ceiling number in real terms before anything else. Say you picked up every extra hour your job would legally let you work, every weekend shift, every holiday nobody else wants. You'd land somewhere around an extra $600 or $700 a month, and then you'd hit a wall because there are only so many hours in a week, and only so many weeks you can do that before something in your life breaks. That's not a lack of effort. That's a ceiling built into the structure of trading hours for dollars, and no amount of hustle gets you over it. Compare that to a newsletter a friend of mine writes for maybe 20 minutes on a Tuesday morning. That brought in more last month than her entire second job did the year before. Same person, wildly different ceiling. That gap is what today is actually about. If you watched the last video, you know where we left off. Your paycheck's real job is funding phase 1, not walking you all the way to free. Today's the part where I show you what phase 2 actually is, because build something with unlimited upside is the kind of sentence that sounds inspiring and means absolutely nothing until we make it concrete. I'm Alora. This is the Finance Mom HQ, and if you're just finding this video without the first one, this is part 2 of what I tell any mom serious about getting free. Go watch part 1 after this if the math on your real number hasn't clicked yet, because everything today builds on it. Let's get into the part that actually changes your ceiling. There are only 2 kinds of income, and understanding the difference between them is the whole game. The first kind trades your hours for money at a fixed rate. You work, you get paid. The day you stop showing up, that paycheck stops showing up right along with you. This is almost every job, and it's almost every side hustle too. The kind where you're driving someone somewhere or delivering someone's dinner. There's a ceiling here no matter what, because the math is just hours multiplied by rate, and both of those numbers have a limit. Work every possible hour at the best possible rate, and you still hit a wall, the same wall I just showed you. The second kind is completely different. You build something once, and it keeps generating money without you standing there trading time for it every single time. A course somebody buys while you're asleep. A product that sells itself once the listing exists. A newsletter. A service you eventually price on results instead of hours. Work you did once that keeps paying you back. The math on this kind isn't hours times rate. It's closer to hours invested up front, harvested for years after. And here's the part that trips people up. The first 100 hours of this kind of income might generate exactly nothing. The first 1,000 might generate almost nothing. And then, somewhere past that, without much warning, the thing you built starts paying you while you're at the grocery store, while you're asleep, while you're at your kid's game instead of at a desk. That's not luck. That's just what happens when effort finally catches up to itself. Let me put actual numbers next to both, side by side, because the contrast is where this really lands. Say you pick up a second job at $18 an hour and manage 15 extra hours a week on top of everything else you're already carrying. That's about $1,170 a month, and it costs you 15 hours every single week, forever, for as long as you keep showing up. Now say instead you spend those same 15 hours a week for a year building something scalable. Month 1, maybe you make $11. Month 3, maybe $40. It looks embarrassing next to the second job, and I understand exactly why most people quit right there, staring at $40 for a month of real effort. But month 12 doesn't look like month 3. If it keeps compounding the way this kind of income actually does, month 24 can look like $1,500 with the same 15 hours, or less, because a real chunk of it is now running without you standing over it. The second job's $1,170 never grows past $1,170 no matter how many years you do it. That's the entire difference, and it's worth sitting with before we go any further. If you're the kind of mom who wants the real math instead of the vague inspiration, hit subscribe now because we're about to get very specific about how a mom with a completely full schedule actually builds this. Now, before you write yourself out of this because you don't feel like a business person, I need to say something directly. What actually determines whether you can build this is a stack of ordinary, learnable skills. not some special gift you were either handed at birth or weren't. Nobody comes out of the womb knowing how to write something people want to read, or price a service fairly, or figure out who actually wants what they're selling. Every single one of those is something you pick up the same way you'd pick up a new recipe, through repetition and a few burnt attempts. The people you watch doing this well didn't arrive knowing it. They were clumsy at it first, for a stretch, the exact same way every single person is clumsy at anything new. Here's a way to think about it that actually helped me settle this for myself. Strip away the mystery, and nearly every dollar made online comes down to which specific words someone put in front of which specific person. That's genuinely the whole mechanism, underneath all of it. The mom who built a six-figure Etsy shop and the mom who tried the exact same thing and made nothing were both just typing things into boxes. The difference wasn't talent, it was which words in which order aimed at which person. That's learnable. It's not mysterious. There are books about it. There are free videos about it. There are people who've already made every mistake you're about to make and written it down for anyone willing to read it. I think what actually convinces most of us this is talent instead of skill is that we only ever see the finished version. You see someone's polished shop, their smooth-sounding video, their listing that reads like it was easy, and it's tempting to assume they were simply born knowing how to do that. You almost never see their first attempt, the clunky one, the one that got 0 sales, the one they were a little embarrassed by later. I've seen Renee's very first product photos. They were lit with an overhead kitchen light at 8 at night, and you could see the reflection of her phone in the frame. That's not talent showing up fully formed. That's someone who kept going long enough to get better, the same slow way anyone gets better at anything. So if it's learnable, why doesn't every mom who wants this actually build it? From everything I've watched other moms go through, and everything I went through myself, it almost always comes back to one of 3 specific sticking points. And each one has a real, practical answer, not just a pep talk. The first is not knowing what to sell. This one traps people in research forever. You look at 15 options, a shop, a service, a course, consulting, content, and instead of picking one, you keep researching, hoping the right one will announce itself. It won't. Here's the truth nobody says out loud. 9 times out of 10, whatever you launch first isn't the thing that eventually pays you. It's just the thing that teaches you what will. You start somewhere, you learn what real people actually respond to, and you adjust from there. The mom running a successful small business right now is very rarely doing the exact thing she thought she'd be doing when she started. Waiting for the perfect idea isn't strategy. It's just fear wearing a strategy costume. If you're genuinely stuck here, the fastest way out isn't more research. It's the most boring question in the world. What do people already ask you for help with? Not what you think sounds impressive. What your sister actually texts you about at 10 at night. What the other moms at pickup already corner you to ask. What you've quietly gotten good at without ever calling it a skill. That's usually sitting right there, and most of us walk past it because it doesn't feel special from the inside. The second is not knowing how to get anyone to actually buy it. This is the one that stops moms who genuinely have something good because it feels like the salesy part, the part that feels uncomfortable to even think about. Here's what simplifies it. There are only 3 ways anyone gets a customer, ever. You create something that draws people in on its own. You pay to put yourself in front of people directly. Or you reach out to people one at a time. That's the whole list. Most moms building something small lean on the first one because it's free and it compounds, and because it doesn't feel like asking anyone for anything. It just feels like being genuinely useful to someone who's only a little further back on a road you've already walked. You don't have to be the leading voice on the subject. You just have to be 20 minutes further along than the person you're talking to. And here's the part that actually gets people over the discomfort. The first time you help someone for free and watch it genuinely land for them, the sales feeling mostly disappears. Because it stops feeling like selling and starts feeling like handing someone the thing you wish you'd had. The third is time. And this is the one that hits moms hardest because it's the most real. You have a job. You have kids who need you at pickup and dinner and bath time and every hour in between. You do not have a spare 80 hours a week for a side project, and I am not going to tell you that you do. What actually moves this forward is smaller than people think. A genuinely focused hour, most days, over a long stretch of time. Most of us have more of those hours than we'd like to admit. They're just currently going to scrolling, to a show we're not even watching closely, to something that isn't actually resting us. That's not a guilt trip, by the way. Rest matters too, and some seasons genuinely don't have the hour, and that's allowed. I'm only saying the hour is usually findable if you go looking for it honestly, and a genuinely focused hour, repeated for months, adds up to something a distracted weekend never will. Do the math on it plainly. One focused hour a day, 5 days a week for a year, is over 250 hours. That's not nothing. That's most of the way to the point where a lot of scalable income actually starts moving. Let's talk about how long this actually takes, because vague timelines are how people quietly give up around month 4. There are really 2 honest paths here, and you get to pick, based on your actual life, not somebody else's. The first path is front-loaded. You squeeze years of sacrifice into a tight, demanding stretch. The cheapest possible everything, no extra spending, every spare hour going toward the thing you're building, for 3 to 5 years. This works. It can get you free faster than almost anything else. It is also genuinely hard, and it is not the right fit for every season of motherhood. If you've got a baby who isn't sleeping and a toddler who needs you every waking minute, front-loading yourself into exhaustion isn't discipline. It's a plan that quietly falls apart in month 3. The second path is slower and steadier. A little more breathing room now. Freedom arriving in 7 to 10 years instead of 3 to 5. Both paths get you to the same place. What doesn't work, what I want to say clearly, is trying to have comfortable and fast at the same time. The math doesn't bend that way. Something gives. Pick your path on purpose, with your eyes open, instead of drifting into the slow path by accident and being surprised later that it's taking a while. Here's how I'd actually think about choosing between them, honestly. Front-loaded fits a season where your kids are a little older, school-aged, sleeping through the night, where you have some genuine margin even if it's tight, and where you're willing to trade a few intense years for getting there faster. Gradual fits almost everyone else, and there's no shame in that at all. It fits new baby years. It fits seasons where your job is already demanding everything you've got. It fits a marriage that needs more of you right now than a side project would leave over. I want to be direct about something. Choosing gradual isn't choosing failure. It's choosing honesty about your actual life instead of a fantasy version of it you'd have to break yourself to keep up with. The mom who picks the 7 to 10 year path and actually sticks with it will get free. The mom who picks the 3 to 5 year path and burns out by month 8, quits and never starts again, doesn't. Slow and finished beats fast and abandoned every single time. Here's something I wish somebody had told me directly instead of implying it. Some of what you build is going to flop completely. And a flop is not the same thing as a failure. My friend Renee, who you might remember from a video a while back, tried 3 completely different things before anything actually stuck. A resale shop that ate more time than it ever paid back. A meal prep service for 2 other moms that fell apart within a month because pricing it right is harder than it looks. Neither one worked in the sense that neither one makes her money today. But the pricing mistakes from the meal prep attempt are exactly why she prices things correctly now. The audience building she did badly for the resale shop is why she does it well for what she's building now. None of it was wasted. It just didn't look like progress while it was happening, the way most real progress doesn't. This is genuinely different from how school trained us to think about being right. In school, you turn something in once and it's graded, correct or incorrect, done. Out here, the first version of almost anything is wrong, and that's expected, not a sign you should quit. The 10th version usually starts working. The 20th might be making real money. Go in expecting to be wrong a few times on purpose, and it stops feeling like failure and starts feeling like the actual process. I also want to be honest about something that made a bigger difference than I expected going in. Who you're actually surrounded by while you're doing this. Renee didn't build any of this completely alone, and honestly, neither did I. The people immediately around you quietly set what feels normal and possible, whether you notice it happening or not. If everyone in your circle treats this kind of goal as unrealistic, you will find it much harder to keep believing it yourself, even if you never say that out loud to anyone. I noticed this most clearly the first time I told someone outside my house what I was actually trying to build. It didn't go badly, nobody was unkind about it, but I got the polite, slightly humoring look people give an idea they've quietly decided won't happen. And I remember driving home feeling smaller than I had that morning, even though nothing about my actual plan had changed. A few weeks later, I mentioned the same thing to Renee, who was already 3 years into her own version of this, and she asked me 2 specific, practical questions about how I was planning to price it. That was the whole difference. Same idea, same me, 2 completely different reactions, and only one of them left me wanting to keep going. That might mean finding 1 or 2 people who are genuinely building something too, even if it's just a group chat, even if it's just someone to send a screenshot to when something actually works for the first time. It might mean spending a little less time around the specific version of realistic that keeps everyone exactly where they already are. You don't need 100 people in your corner. You need a small handful who don't think what you're doing is strange. There's one more piece that made this sustainable for me in a way pure willpower never did, and it's less exciting than it sounds. Automate the boring parts so they don't depend on how you're feeling that day. I do not have consistent motivation. Some weeks I'm energized and focused, and some weeks I am barely keeping everyone fed and clothed. And on those weeks, if progress depended on how inspired I felt, nothing would happen at all. So the transfer to savings happens automatically the day the paycheck lands, before I can talk myself out of it. The posting schedule is blocked on the calendar in advance, so it happens whether I feel like it that particular Tuesday or not. Here's what that actually looks like on a rough week, the honest version, not the highlight reel version. Sunday night, 15 minutes. I write down the 1 or 2 things that matter for the week, not a whole plan, just the next honest step. The savings transfer already happened automatically 2 days ago, so it's not a decision I have to make again. Tuesday's focused hour happens after Ethan's in bed, whether I feel sharp or half asleep, because it's already on the calendar, and the calendar doesn't ask how I'm feeling. Some weeks that hour produces something good. Some weeks it produces 3 mediocre paragraphs I'll rewrite later. Both weeks count because the system ran regardless of which kind of week it was. None of the moms I know who actually built something did it through superhuman discipline. They built systems that made the right thing happen by default, so their actual willpower only had to show up for the parts a system genuinely can't do for you. And the very last piece, the one that compounds quietly underneath everything else. Keep learning, on purpose, for the whole ride, not just at the very beginning when everything feels exciting and new. A $20 book holding someone's 10 hard years of trial and error is absurdly underpriced for what it actually teaches you. We'll spend real money on something that sits in a closet within a month and hesitate over $20 for something that could actually change how much we make. Put learning into the ordinary edges of your day, the commute, the folding laundry, the walk after drop-off, and let it stack over years. That stack is a real, durable advantage over everyone who quietly stopped learning the day they graduated. I want to be specific about why this matters more than it seems to at the start, because at the beginning, one book feels like it barely moves anything. It's the 10th book where you start noticing the same idea showing up from 3 different people who've never met each other. And that's usually when you can actually trust it's true, and not just one person's lucky story. It's the 20th where you start recognizing your own mistakes before you finish making them, because you've already read about someone else making that exact one. This isn't about becoming an expert in the abstract. It's about not having to learn every single lesson the expensive, slow way, through your own trial and error alone, when someone already paid that tuition and wrote down what they learned. Before I pull all of this together, I want to name the thing underneath every part of today, because it's easy to hear learnable skill and systems and 2 honest timelines, and still walk away feeling like this is a project for a different, more put-together version of you. It isn't. Every single mom I've mentioned today, Renee with her kitchen light product photos, me with a napkin full of bad math at my own counter, started exactly as unqualified as you might feel right now. Nobody in this video was handed a head start. What they had was a direction and enough stubbornness to keep walking in it after the first, second, and sometimes 10th attempt didn't work. So here's the whole thing, both parts in one place. Find your real floor number, the honest one, not the 25 times fantasy. Cut it down using the levers that are actually yours to pull. Let your paycheck fund phase 1 on purpose, debt, an emergency fund, a lower floor, and real time. Then use that time to build something that isn't capped by your hours, using skills that are entirely learnable, expecting a few honest misses along the way, on a timeline you chose instead of one that chose you, surrounded by a few people who don't think it's strange, running on systems instead of only on willpower. None of this is complicated. I want to be honest that it is genuinely not easy. And I'm not going to stand here and pretend 3 to 7 focused years feel short while you're inside them. But 3 to 7 years of this, compared to working the version of your life where none of it ever changes, that trade is one of the best ones I know how to make for a family. Tell me in the comments, which of the 3 things, the idea, the selling, or the time, is the one actually stopping you right now? I read every single one, and I mean that. I'm Alora. This is the Finance Mom HQ, raising kids and retirement funds. Go take care of both, and I'll see you in the next one.